PFL Road to Dubai Championship Series. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy and Jim. We're going to be breaking down every fight here for Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes here. We're just going to start with some of the prelim fights, go through them briefly. We know the lines are not going to be out everywhere on all the legal books, so we'll do our best, and then we'll go through the main card. So if we don't hit every single fight with a deep breakdown, don't worry about it. There's a lot of fights you're going to want to steer clear of. So let's get into it. Let's hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Come on, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? You get notified when you get all of our breakdown videos and such. So make sure you do that. Leave a comment in the comment section if you don't have a hot take, a best bet, anything. Code word of the day for the comment section is shop. Jim used it in a sentence right before I hit record, so I was like, let's use the word shop. So, all right, Jim, let's get into it. We'll start with the bottom of the barrel. This is the barrel. This is the bottom. They're not all terrible, but let's start with Neta and Haider Khan. Who do you like?
Well, with PFL and formerly Bellator, we can officially stop saying Bellator, everybody now at least.
Yeah.
It's now officially PFL, end of an era. It's different than betting UFC. The storylines, which fighter is being pushed is way more obvious, and that is this situation. They have had Neta on every PFL MENA card, every road to UFC that they've could, and they've been pushing this guy and pushing this guy and pushing this guy. So they give him Khan. Now, this is a replacement opponent. He originally was not supposed to fight this guy. So they give him a replacement. So if I am PFL and this is the guy that I want to plant my flag on the Indian market, the Middle Eastern market, I'm not going to throw him some killer to start the night. This would be a very poor business decision. So when we look at Haider, is he horrible? No, but he's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. His stand-up is extremely lacking, and I don't feel that he is going to have 3 rounds of wrestling to hold Neta down. So just by that thought alone, I have to go with Neta and go with the narrative. You're going to hear us talk very differently on these PFL fights than our UFC content because there's a lot less to go on, and you have to read the tea leaves more. So I'll read the tea leaves at the beginning of the night. Give me Neta. Probably finds a late second round, third round KO.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty straightforward. Normally you say striker, wrestler, grappler. You're like, oh, the wrestler, grappler. No, this is not your high end wrestler, grappler. I agree. Neta just overpowers them. Even if Khan does get some type of wrestling going, I just don't think it's going to be enough to sustain for 3 rounds. So Neta will be the pick here for me. John Mitchell versus Tairi. I think you're not. I mean, you got John Mitchell big in this one, right?
Well, let's switch gears to a guy who can do 3 rounds of wrestling, and that's John Mitchell. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come out and he is going to work the ground game. So he's lined as a big favorite. Not a whole lot you can do with him. You're going to have to parlay him with something to get some better odds. But I'm interested in the method of victories when they come out for this fight. He is going to get the takedowns. He's going to get the top control, and he is considered a boring wrestler. However, he is getting a 7-5-1 opponent in this situation. Again, how do we start this night and build up Ireland a little bit? I know. Let's throw John Mitchell, a 7-5 Frenchman, and see what happens from there. So we know the French are not great at wrestling. They just aren't. So I think the submission, if we can get a line on this, or we can get maybe an under 2.5 once these lines drop, that's where I'll be looking on this fight. John Mitchell should absolutely roll.
All right, we go to Hadi Omar Al Hussaini and Ruel Penales. I will take this fight. Penales is just really bad. Not good in the slightest. He's lost 2 out of 3. And the guy he beat is currently 0-4. That was his second fight that he lost. So when we're talking about him beating guys, no. It's just that he's really bad. You go and watch him and you're like, wow, I don't know what you are. He's not a striker, but I mean, not really a grappler. And Hussaini, you got to worry about his cardio a little bit. He got choked out in the third round because he was tired in his last one. So he's gone the distance on some of them, but not the best competition in the world. But he is light years ahead of Penales. So Hussaini is the pick here for me, unless you have any massive disagreements.
No, it's a straight up mismatch. This one is a straight
Yeah, it
up
really
mismatch.
is.
You don't see a lot of fighters coming out of the Philippines. And when I say coming out of the Philippines, I mean fighting out of the Philippines. Yes, there's Filipino fighters, but this guy purely just trains in the Philippines. Not exactly a hotbed for MMA and jiu-jitsu. There's stick fighters and knife fighters down there. Totally, totally different. So yes, Omar should. I actually think he gets the finish in this. I know you're the cardio concern. I don't think it gets out of round one.
Makes
This is
sense.
a quick one.
I could see it just with how limited Pinales is. So, move on to the next one. Mike Thompson. Do you have anything on this one?
Yes, this is the prospect that got away. I am stunned that the UFC let this man get to PFL. He is a legitimate prospect who is fighting out of a legitimate gym and has a legitimate career behind him. And PFL snuck in and grabbed him, man. They threw a lot of money at him, and they are throwing him a little bit of a softball in this fight. Mike Thompson's not the worst, but his skill set matches up horribly against his opponent here. It is going
Okay.
to be wrestling. It's going to be wrestling quick. There's not going to be a feeling out process. And once this thing gets to the ground, it's Akhtamov however he wants this fight. It could be decision if he wants to get some time. I would think he's going to want to make a splash with this PFL finalizing the merger and releasing these fighters. There's a lot of openings. We have the tournaments coming up. He's got a chance to make a real big statement here and punch his ticket to the tournament. So I think it's a finish. I could see easily round one, round two submission on the ground. He's going to totally outmatch Mike Thompson on the ground.
I love it. Suleimanov and Al Sawawi, the lines came off, so I don't know if this fight is still taking place. Did you like either of these guys?
Al Sawali's chin is just done. He's not ancient, but 27 fights. 27 fights. His age doesn't say how much mileage. And the problem is he's getting hit with shots that aren't like bone crushing knockout shots. They're just glancing blows. He's getting wobbled. Now, his opponent here is more of a wrestler, so you would think it's not going to be that big a deal. But I really think that even some ground and pound could cause some major damage on Al Sawali. So we'll see if we get this fight. If we do, I think this is a fight doesn't go the distance, or you're taking Solmanov by finish of some sort because
Okay.
Al Sawali's just been cracked way too many times.
All right. Soliman and Ahmed Sami.
Yes.
What do you think?
Very, very close card. Don't think we have very great fighters. It's a total pass to me. These guys have very, very similar skill sets. This to me is the closest fight on the card with the most dangerous side to side. I want no part of betting this fight. I'm not picking a side. I'm not picking a total. If I would lean anywhere, I would say that this fight goes the distance because they're so evenly matched.
All right. Moving on to the main card. Henna Khavalov and is it Cleaver Fernandez?
Yes.
All right. Any takes on this one?
This is another one. Khavalov is here to make a statement and make a splash, and they are throwing him the fraudulent 9-1.
We see a few of these pop up like, oh, 9-1. Like,
Let's
oh,
dissect
no.
this 9-1, shall we? So, a win over a 5-0, 12-5, 3-0, 3-1, 2-2, 3-2. Not a lot of experience on the table here. Really not a lot of experience. The thing is, he's going to be just outmatched. Again, this is Khavalov as whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. If he wants the cage time, he can get it. If he wants to get the finish, which I believe he will, I think he could find it. I just don't see Cleaver Fernandez having the defensive responsibility to last 3 rounds with this guy. Wrestling is top notch. Absolute top notch.
All right. Moving on to Bramoff and Kenny. Believe it's Mwako Hana. We'll call him Kenny. We'll call him Kenny. My opinion, Kenny is not that good. He is really, really limited. I really haven't seen much that has made me that worried. Okay, 3-4. It's it's easy to look good there. I guess that Alex Bodnar was decent, but yeah, he's just going to be outmatched with. I don't know. I think it's probably more. It's just going to start off on the feet, and then but Bramoff, once he gets the timing down, he can take him down. He can just do whatever he wants, really. So I don't know how long it'll take him to get his timing. Probably not that long. But once Bramoff gets his hands around him, I don't think there's much Kenny can do. What do you think?
I mean, perfect nickname for Bramoff, the Mauler.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. He's got pretty good stand-up, which is nice to see that a lot of these Russians are starting to really advance their stand-up. So he does have nice stand-up. He's not dumb enough to sit there and try to trade with the power of Kenny. Kenny's not a great fighter. To me, this is a decision. I think Kenny can stay alive. I think Ibrahim by decision is a great bet. We'll see what that prop is when it lands. To me, he's parlayable. He's right at that, I believe sub minus 500 price. So you can put him with something else. I think this is going to make it 9-0, and there will be a time to fade him, but it is not the 5-1 Kenny.
All right, now we're moving on, getting closer to the main event. If you guys could hit the like button, leave us a comment in the comment section before we break down these guys. I want to remind you, all of our plays are at wagertalk.com. Any PFL plays that we have officially that go out to clients, you can find that at Wagertalk, and we've got our NFL playoff props pack that is up as well. Running nice in NFL, 6-2 the last 2 weeks, 4 straight profitable weeks, which is great to end the season and go right into playoffs with 4 straight winning weeks. So take advantage of that. Don't miss out on all the props. Any props that we have for the games this weekend will be there, as well as any PFL plays that get released. All right, Jim, Nathan Kelly and Ahmed Magomedov. It's I don't know. There's a lot of storylines going on here. We'll start with Nathan Kelly. Let's tell us what you know about him and where he's at right now in his career.
Well, Nathan was the darling of PFL and Bellator. That's really been his story over the past 2 years, and we've made a damn good amount of money parlaying him up. He's been at some crazy odds, but taking him by submission or fight doesn't go the distance has been very profitable. He hasn't fought the best level of competition. And you're going to hear this a lot and see this a lot this year in PFL. I think a lot of these guys that have been spoon-fed over the past 2 years, I think the organization is going to look at them and kind of say, all right, listen, it's sink or swim time. We need to know who we're planting our flag on with this new company and who we're going to push. So both of these guys is sink or swim. So Nathan Kelly was supposed to fight Zabit's brother, Magomedov. That's gone. Would have loved to seen that fight. So now he gets Ahmed. Guy's been off for 2 years. He is, as of right now, a minus 235 favorite. There's no way I'm laying that on a fighter that's been off for 2 years. We see this all the time. So I think the number is ridiculous on Kelly. I actually like Kelly's skill set, even though he's been spoon-fed. I don't believe that he is not a good fighter. He's got great skills. He just hasn't had the opportunity to test it against a legitimate opponent. And they found on short notice a 10-1 Russian to put on the Ireland versus Russia card. So to me, the line just makes no sense. I do not mind one bit a shot on Nathan Kelly at plus 200. I believe he's plus 210 at the time we're filming this video. And I just don't believe that in 2 years you're going to keep your sharpness. This guy's been fighting. He's been active. He knows it's sink or swim. It's his chance to make a big splash. So give me Kelly.
I'm with you on this one. I thought the same thing. I thought the odds don't make any sense. Guys, I don't like these guys that haven't fought in a couple years. So yeah, I'll ride with you that Nathan Kelly's explosiveness is just going to be a little bit too much. So that's always worrisome when his name ends with an OV. But
they're not all going to win.
They're not all going to win.
It's going to be one.
Well, this guy's probably going to win. Vadim Ncof against Tim Johnson. We got the old fade the side hustle theory here. We're talking about Tim Johnson, who's a full-time truck driver, correct?
Correct. He's got that CDL. He's eastbound and down.
I mean, so the reason he's still here is, was it the Danilo Marquez fight where they needed to save the Marquez fight, and he was a full-time truck driver, not ready to fight at all, goes out and actually wins somehow. Then predictably Goltsov took care of him real quick, and now here he is. He's back. Yeah, Yeah. So what's Nemkov going to do to a truck driver?
Whatever he wants. Goltsov Johnson, give him credit, man. He's been cashing checks over the past 2 years of PFL. When they have somebody fall out, they give old Tim Johnson a call, and he'll come driving right in. I believe it was his last fight when he took it on short notice. He said he was back to work on Monday. Like
Yep.
he was like in the seat on Monday, hauling across the country. So, hey, make your money while you can. You know, he's been around a long time, 39 years old. Nemkov, this is his third different opponent. So he's been booked. This is his third one. We had 2 fights fall out. He was supposed, I forget who his original one, Deliha. That's right.
Yeah.
And then they try to do the Corey Anderson thing again. Corey Anderson pulls out. So what do you do at this point? Who's going to say yes and show up? Tim Johnson. You can always count on him to show up. Deliveries are always on time when Tim Johnson is there. So Nemkov can do whatever he wants. This fight should not make it out of the first round. I would not be surprised if this is just an overwhelming Tim takes his ball and goes home very, very quickly in this fight. I'll be very interested in the time props and the finish props once we get them out. They should be out tomorrow. Keep in mind, this is going to be Friday, our time, Saudi Arabia. So be ready for these lines to drop because they're going to move quick.
Move on to the main event. Usman Nurmagomedov. Do we even have confirmed times on when these? This time of year always gets me confused. I think they may start Saturday morning.
They can change it at the drop of a hat. I've woken up halfway through cards before.
Okay.
As of right now, East Coast time, Saturday, 11 a.m. is your start time.
Okay.
I don't know. Be ready.
Let's talk about Usman Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes. Only one loss combined between them. Paul Hughes, I think we would say, got a surprising win against AJ McKee. But this is a pretty tall task. Do you think Paul Hughes can hang with Usman?
What was your takeaway of the Paul Hughes AJ McKee fight? That's what this whole breakdown comes to me. Is this one fight?
Yeah, I went back and watched it because we lost a bet on it. We thought AJ McKee would win, and AJ McKee looked like he was drugged. Yep. It was a very strange performance from McKee. I don't know if there was an injury there or what was going on, but I remembered that AJ McKee looked terrible, and I thought, well, that must mean that I think Paul Hughes is going to look amazing, and he didn't.
No,
he didn't look that great. It looked like McKee was basically just kind of hanging on to him, and Hughes was able to do enough, damage inside, and I guess on on the clinch, but it wasn't really impressive. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, Usman's gonna manhandle this guy. So that was my takeaway. Was Paul Hughes did not look as good as I remembered him looking.
Yeah, it really was an indictment on AJ McKee. After the fight was over, you don't want to put too much stock in the statements, but McKee did everything except say I totally underestimated this guy and like sleepwalked my way into the cage that night.
Yeah.
So it showed. And that's what it looked like. So don't trust what they say, trust your eyes. And that AJ McKee that fought Paul Hughes is not the AJ McKee that we know and love. Also, keep in mind, as bad as he did look, he had a moment in the second where the tide could have changed in that fight. The odds swung totally the opposite way. He was coming back and then just, again, another bonehead decision. This is a Nurmagomedov. And what have we said for years in Bellator and PFL? If they train with Khabib, they're a safe bet. I mean, these guys just know how to play this game. They know how to play this low-level MMA game. Do not think for 1 second after last weekend, Usman losing, that they are not going to make sure that this is a W in another championship. 5-round environment in Saudi Arabia. I mean, the deck is stacked against Paul Hughes in this. I was stunned when I saw the number of minus 435 on Usman. I thought we were going to get hit with minus 1,000 right out the gate. I mean, this is just another level to me. I think this is Usman. I would not be surprised. I know Paul's tough on the ground, but late round 4, round 5, this could be a statement from that camp that they still feel that they won that fight last weekend. This could be a statement moment for them.
Interesting. Yeah, it's pretty obvious they weren't happy with all that. So come in and make your statement. PFL Road to Dubai Champions Series. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for joining us again. Hit the like button, leave us a comment. All plays can be found over at wagertalk.com. Yet to be decided if there will be a takedown live for this event. No UFC. I'll have to think about it on Saturday. So, all right, guys, good luck on all your bets, and we'll see everyone later.
Take care, guys.